Good morning, everyone. Corporate welfare and Fridgegate. But first, the first sitting prime minister to have ethics violations and to actually have broken the law, there's more questionable documents surfacing. And the RCMP, or Global News is reporting today, quote, RCMP fesses up 817 days later, planning for Trudeau's Bahama trip began months in advance. And that's about 2.25 years. 817 days divided by years, right? And I don't know why they'd use days. That's a weird metric. But anyway, here we go. Let's read the article. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's RCMP handlers were vetting the Bahamas as a vacation destination for the Prime Minister at least 9 months before Trudeau took his family on the 2016-17 Christmas vacation that would cause so much controversy. The new document, in combination with other information published by Parliament's Ethics Commissioner in late 2017, establishes that the planning for Trudeau's trip to the Bahama island, owned by Aga Khan, appears to have started earlier than previously thought, a finding which raises yet again questions about the judgment of senior political and bureaucratic aides serving the Prime Minister, aides who over the months ahead of the trip never appeared to warn Trudeau of his obligations under the Federal Conflict of Interest Act. Trudeau would later become the first Prime Minister in history to break the federal law while in office, when Parliament's Conflict of Interest and Ethics Commissioner ruled in December 2017 that in accepting the gift of a free vacation on a private Bahamas island and free travel in a non-government aircraft, Trudeau violated 4 provisions of the Conflict of Interest Act. Quote, I am not surprised that more information is coming forward on Prime Minister Trudeau's trip to Billionaire Island, said Charlie Angus, the NDP MP from the Ontario riding of Timmins, James Bay, who is his party's ethics critic. Interesting, right? Like, there's more information. The longer this government is in crisis, and they are currently in crisis, started by SNC, the more stuff is continuing to come out. And my biggest question about this is what's taking the RCMP so long? 2.5 years? This shouldn't be taking 2.5 years to get documents to people for freedom of information, etc. This should have been part of the story 2.5 years ago. It's frustrating, the feet dragging being done in order to cover up and give distance between the offense, what happened, and time when it's reported. I mean, this can't be great either. This is an election year, and this just refreshes an old story, really. But it's really, really strange and disappointing for our police. We used to have police that could actually, do things, and now they seem to be bellhops for irregular border crossers, so say our government, the illegals that the RCMP can't deal with because the government's policy prevents it. It's ridiculous. It's very, very terrible. I'm frustrated on a lot of different counts. But first, there's a reason I'm frustrated, and it's Trudeau's ineptitude. I wanted to take you back to 2018, and in 2018, Kathleen Wynne was trying to get reelected in Ontario. During that time, the Trudeau Liberals were splashing around money to help with that goal. And in May, they gave Toyota $1.4 billion. $1.4 billion. How much money did Toyota make last year? $63 billion. $63 billion. Links in the description. You can check for yourself. And it's really strange when the government gives money to these big corporations but ignores the small business that has increased taxes and a cut-off ability to do business because of the high taxes and all of the other missteps this government has made. It's incredible. Both of their budgets, 2018, 2019 budgets, they don't respond to the real world happenings of Donald Trump and, I mean, free trade between the EU and the United States. Canola being declined from China, declining oil purchases from China. These are all things that should be addressed in a budget. You say, well, this is happening and blah, 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 blah. They're talking about, oh, we're good for spending. We've got lots and lots of money. Yeah, to give to your corporate buddies. And I find it interesting that fast forward to 2019 and $12 million in corporate welfare meant to buy freezers has gone to Loblaws, a multi-billion-dollar multinational company. Again, it's the same play. They didn't realize it failed miserably in Ontario. It just created anger. And look at what happened again. It just created anger. And so here's Leonard Roxon tweeting about it. And I'm going to show you a bunch of tweets because people are mad. It's not just me saying this is insane. People are mad about this one. And whatever catches fire, man. I was mad about SNC. I was mad about the Attorney General being pressured. I was mad about all sorts of the impropriety of inserting criminal code law changes into a budget bill. I mean, all of these things make me mad, but if fridges make you guys mad, let's go with fridges, man. Leonard Roxon tweeting, quote, while you have to wait a year to get partial carbon tax rebate, the Trudeau Liberals are already doling out tens of millions of dollars to extremely wealthy corporations. Ask yourself the following questions. One, why am I still supporting such a government? 2, what did they do for me? 3, what did they cost me and my family? 4, who are they giving millions and billions of dollars to? 5, who pays the interest cost on these billions of dollars of debt? How are my taxes being used? Compare what they've taken away from me to what they gave me. Yeah, and I think those are good questions to ask before going into the voting booth this year. I couldn't imagine how anybody can support these people. Ramboni13 is tweeting, quote, yesterday Trudeau spent $12 million of your tax dollars on freezers for Loblaws, who made $800 million in profit last year. Boycott Loblaws, give it back. And here's a list of all the companies that are owned by Loblaws Inc. And here's another one, Brenda Stewart. Loblaw's corporate CEOs should really have thought the adverse publicity of taking $12 million in tax dollars to line their pockets, pretending that they are being great climate change fighting citizens, replacing refrigeration units they would have replaced anyway. Liberal elitists. And here's another tweet. Well, this is the tweet that was responding to. Loblaws, owned by the richest in Canada, yet proudly engaged in shameless price fixing on bread for more than a decade, 14 years, stealing from the poor, is blessed with $12 million of taxpayer dollars by Climate Barbie to tackle climate change. Do Canadians think there's something wrong? And a follow-up question, do you think that giving Loblaws, $12 million to buy freezers is actually helping climate change? Do you believe that? If you believe that, please explain it to me in the comments. I would love to understand. Here is Sharon's sister upstairs tweeting, quote, boycott Loblaws, Zehrs, your independent grocer, Provigo, Atlantic Superstore, Fortino's, Dominion, Independent City Market, Value Mart, ARZ Bakery, Wholesale Club, TNT Supermarket, Real Canadian Liquor Store, Real Canadian Superstore, No Frills, Maxi, Extra Foods, Shoppers. And that's in response to Ramboni13's tweet. And here's Maxime Bernier saying, you all know that there's only one party that is absolutely, totally, categorically, unreservedly determined to abolish corporate welfare. And that's the People's Party of Canada with Maxime Bernier. So check out the People's Party of Canada. The platform link is here, or maybe it's just a general link to the site, but you can check out the platform. And yeah, if you want to stop giving money to the likes of Toyota and the likes of Loblaws, other than what you need to purchase from them, what you choose to spend at their store because you choose to spend it there rather than having your tax dollars taken off your paycheck and redistributed this way. It makes no sense. And the corporate welfare. Here's an exchange between Lisa Raitt and Justin Trudeau in the House. And Justin Trudeau is seeing white supremacists everywhere. They're the absolute biggest thing they need to talk about. Now, let me remind you, the controversy around this is Justin Trudeau, he looks like illegally pressured, but who knows, put pressure on the Attorney General, and Mr. Scheer is asking questions and wanting to follow up about that. And he's saying, you're making false you're making false statements and you're on notice, right? They're trying to change the conversation and it's failing. People want to talk about the actual scandals. Norman, SNC, Fridgegate. These are the missteps that Mr. Trudeau, carbon tax, has to wear into the election, right? But he's trying to change it to white nationalists are the biggest scare in Canada right now. I can't believe that he thinks he's going to be taken seriously. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Anyway, here it is. Here we go.
Speaker, just some free advice for the Prime Minister. Yes, there has been a notice sent over, and the Leader of the Opposition has indicated that he stands by every single word in that press release. That is a problem for the Prime Minister. So I guess, Mr. Speaker, the ball is actually in his court. Now, he can stand up here and wave his arms around and talk about the fact that he's putting us on notice, but why doesn't he actually show us? Let's get it on, Prime Minister.
Right on the ball, Prime Minister. Putting the Conservative leader on notice is something we did because the truth was important. And here is the truth. After being asked directly to condemn white supremacists yesterday, the leader of the opposition... Order.
Did you notice that? The guy behind Trudeau put his finger on his ear, signaling the speaker to call for order? That's just something to notice. Weird, right?
I had no trouble hearing the question. I should be able to hear the answer equally well. Order. Right Honourable Prime Minister has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, after being asked directly to condemn white supremacists yesterday, the Leader of the Opposition not only refused to do so, he refused to even say the words. So I will give him another opportunity to do so today, and through his Deputy Leader. Will he denounce white supremacy, the alt-right movement, and finally apologize for sharing a platform with...
Weird, right? Very strange. Very, very strange way to try and spin SNC. This SNC scandal is squarely on the Liberals. The clerk of the Privy Council stepped down, Wernick. GM Butts stepped down. Katie Telford is questionable. 2 cabinet ministers are expelled from caucus. This is not a small scandal. And Trudeau's trying to say climate change and white supremacists. Dude, really? Wow. And Sheila Copps, Justin Trudeau's favorite drunk attack dog, is saying Trudeau does not attend white supremacist rallies in response to a tweet that is now gone. Perhaps I should have removed this, but I just think Sheila Copps weighing in continually is just funny. Like, what? You're not relevant. There's nothing. Go away. And here is a story that's more local, for me anyway. Free dental care for low-income seniors to be announced in budget. I find this interesting. I think this Ontario budget, this 2019 budget, I should probably do a video on it. I should probably do a video on it. There's a couple of things I agree with. There's a couple of things I don't. And, well, I mean, that's what we have to live with, right? And this is why I like 2 parties that have 2 valid ideas, because then you can chop some wood and get down to where's the compromise, right? When you have one party that's communist socialist or socialist communist, and the other party that's just trying to do capitalism and trying to continue the tradition that we've had in Canada and in Ontario for as long as I can remember, and history books show me for longer, since 1900 anyway. And, well, I'm not going to get into that, but, that's our system. We can't move to a communist system just because the newspapers and 25% of people who are very loud want to. And I don't even think it's that high. 25 is a very, very generous number. So yeah, I'd like to have a really good conversation with a whole group of people who are actually trying to move Canada in a positive, into a positive situation, rather than, if we can just implement communism right, you guys will understand after half of you are dead. Right? That went into a strange place for the Ontario dental. And here's why I think this is smart. This is why I think it's intelligent to do this. Emergency dental is covered under emergency care, right? And a lot of seniors, meaning the wait times in emergency rooms, were being put up because seniors were looking for dental care, right? And if you have no other options and no money, the emergency room will take care of you. And if this fixes that hole, if it's cheaper to spend, the price tag on this is $100 million, I believe. If it's cheaper to spend $100 million on preventative dental care for seniors, and that cuts down on more expensive emergency room visits, then it makes sense to spend that money. That's a fiscal, like you can't not help those people, right? So what's the best way to help those people in a fiscally responsible way? It's not give everybody healthcare from cradle to grave, because that removes the person's responsibility to take care of themselves. But you can support people who can't, right? Like we're in Canada. There's a conversation to be had, but we can't do it all. There are 273 million stateless people. And the second you throw open your borders and say, we've come here, we've got it all of a sudden we're swamped. We can't do it. The conversation has to remain balanced. And that's a hard thing to do. So, and I'm imperfect because, I make jokes and I think, because it's funny too, right? Like you have to laugh. There are situations that happen in the world that happen, and you have to deal with it and move on, and not move on, but have that inform what happens next, right? Like, maybe I'm not being very clear. I apologize for my tangents. The last story today is Senator Linda Frum says the sister-in-law of Liberal Cabinet Minister D. LeBlanc NB has been tasked with investigating the Liberal SNC scandal on behalf of the Ethics Commissioner, which is a scandal in and of itself. And I'm pointing this out because Senator Linda Frum is a senator, and at least other parts of the government are seeing the rot and the disaster that this Liberal government has has put in place in their 3.5 short years, approaching 4 short years in office. It's incredible. It's disappointing. And, well, I apologize for stumbling so much over Mr. LeBlanc's name. Wow, that was really bad. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for watching to the end, and have a wonderful day. Check out the People's Party of Canada if you want to get rid of corporate welfare. I want to get rid of corporate welfare. Screw those fridges. Damn you, Loblaws. Okay, have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, everybody.